when I was first invited to speak at this anniversary, I wondered, should I do a workshop? Should I share techniques? Or should I do something different? And my heart told me, this is a moment to inspire and to influence through storytelling. So today, instead of a workshop, I want to share some of the aha moments that shaped my own journey as an NLP trainer. And my hope is that as you listen, you'll reflect on your own. Because when I look back at my NLP journey, I realized it wasn't one big decision that changed me. It was a handful of aha moments. Some of them were painful, and some were surprising, and some were even funny. But each one shaped who I am as a trainer today. And as I share my aha moments, I'd invite you all to reflect on yours. So, quick check. How many of you have had at least one aha moment in your NLP journey? Now, if you do, please type aha in the chat. Okay, I go first. Let's see. Ooh, wow, 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 beautiful. This chat is already full of ahas. Okay. I like that. I like that energy, Katharina. And exactly that's why we are here today, to gather everybody's aha moments. And if you have a moment, feel free to share more about your actual aha moment in the chat box too. Now, I won't stop to read them aloud, but others may see your story and feel inspired by it. So do share. Now, we all have those moments when someone says something that changes how we see ourselves. Sometimes it lifts us up. Sometimes it feels like a slap in the face. And my first big aha was actually one of those moments. When I first started this journey, I dreamed big. I thought I want to be an international trainer. I want to bring NLP to people all over the world. At that time, I was still living in Hong Kong, just starting out, full of passion, but with no idea how far this path could take me. And then, one experienced NLP trainer, someone I really trusted, told me, Susanna, stop daydreaming. You're like a new singer debuting. Just survive locally. If you can make it in China, that's already a huge deal. Have you ever had someone you respected say something that just crushed your energy? For me, it felt like a bucket of cold water poured right over me. My stomach dropped, my chest tightened, and this little voice inside started whispering, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I should lower my expectations. Stay small. Be safe. And the truth is, when it came from someone experienced, those words cut even deeper. And for a while, I carried them with me like a heavy weight. But my heart kept telling me, this doesn't feel right. And deep down, I knew I was meant for something bigger. And maybe the universe heard that. Because in an unexpected moment, another NLP trainer, just an acquaintance, not even someone close, gave me an analogy that completely flipped the way I saw things. He said, you're like someone walking into a casino, trying to find a table. You want to join one that already exists. But no matter which one you pick, you'll have to fit in. And you'll never feel fully aligned. But remember, every table started as a new table. Oh, if you played it well, others will come and join yours. Boom! That was reframing in action. And suddenly, instead of asking, where do I fit? I started asking, what table do I want to create? And that changed everything. Because here's the thing, if you only try to fit into other people's tables, you'll always be limited by their rules. But if you create your own, you set the tone. So let me throw you this, my friend. Where in your life are you sitting at someone else's table? And what table would you love to create? Let's take 10 seconds. Just reflect. And if you want, type a word or short phrase in the chat. What kind of table would you love to create? And if anyone feels like sharing your table out loud, just raise your hand and unmute. I'd love to hear an example. Let's see. Mastermind roundtable, Mark. I like that. Just with the M and with your name, Mark. It's already inspiring, Mark. So let's take a few moments and reflect. Remember, this is not only my journey, it's your journey too. What kind of table would you love to create? Oh, yeah, exactly. You can create, not a table. You create a whole universe. That's okay too. Or create your own world. Anyone would like to share? Greg, would you? Here's the truth. Every great table we see today, at one point, it was brand new. Somebody had to dare to start it. And that was my first aha moment. Stop waiting for someone else to invite you in. Create your own space and they'll join. Well, which brings me to my next aha. My second aha moment happened in Shanghai, Jackie. I had gone there as a participant just to learn, enjoy the conference, and soak it all in. The night before the conference ended, the organizers came up to me looking desperate. He said, Susanna, our closing keynote speaker just canceled. Could you, deliver the closing session tomorrow? I thought, what? Me? My heart started pounding and my voice trembled and my knees felt like jelly. And then I heard myself said, yes. I had no idea where that courage came from. And here's the kicker. No, not only was it the closing session, it wasn't even a small parallel workshop. It was a big stage. And it was supposed to be in Mandarin. At that time, my Mandarin was super rusty. And the organizer said, don't worry. You can speak English. Most people will understand. But you and I both know, in NLP, second perceptual position matters. People listen deeper when you speak their language. So I thought, okay, I'll mix Mandarin and English. Let's hope they can follow. Yeah. And that night, I searched my computer and found something I could base my talk on. But I'll be honest, my knees were still shaky when I walked onto the stage the next day. And just when I thought, oh, things couldn't get worse, the projector stopped working. No slides, no vision, no visuals, nothing. Just me and my rusty Mandarin. At that point, I had two choices. I could freeze, or I could focus. So I took a deep breath, fired my anchor for the coach state, center, open, aware, connected, holding. And I just went for it. 1 hour, no slides, rusty Mandarin, and somehow it worked. The organizer was thrilled. The audience was engaged. And afterwards, a few participants came up to me and said, wow, how did you do that? And the funny thing is, I thought the same thing. How did I just do that? Now that was my aha. Courage isn't waiting until you're ready. Courage is saying yes, even when you're not. So let me ask you, where in your life are you waiting until you feel ready? And what might happen if you said yes anyway? If you're ready to practice a little courage today, type yes in the chat. Whoa, Jane is fast and furious. Yeah, I see so many yeses. Beautiful. And if one of you feels called to share out loud, just a few sentences about where you're ready to say yes, you can unmute yourself. I'd love to hear a quick example. Anyone? So that was my second aha moment. Say yes first. Figure it out later. Which brings me to my next aha. What could be my next aha, right? My third aha moment happened in Bangkok. At that time, I was collaborating with another NLP coach on a training. Day one was a huge success. Ooh, participants were engaged. Everything flowed. I thought, great, we nailed it. That evening, my coach said to me, Susanna, can we talk? Now, you know when someone says that, it usually isn't good news. She looked at me and said, Susanna, you're a brilliant trainer, outstanding. But on stage, I can see how much you push yourself to be perfect. The participants are amazed by you. But here's the problem. They think it's possible for you, not for them. They admire you, but they don't feel like you and they are the same. I couldn't accept what she said. That night, I locked myself in my room. I replayed her words over and over and over. It's possible for you, but not for them. And the more I thought about it, the heavier it felt. I had built my stage presence around being professional, polished, and inspiring. And suddenly someone was telling me that that very strength was creating distance. I felt crushed and honestly a little angry. Part of me wanted to reject it completely. She doesn't understand me. She's wrong. And another part, a small whisper said, what if she's right? The next morning, I stood in front of the group. My instinct was to start strong. Confident, polished, ready to impress. But her words were still echoing. It's possible for you, but not for them. And then something happened. As I looked at the faces in the room, I suddenly saw myself through their eyes. In NLP terms, I wasn't pacing them. I was mismatching. They were carrying doubts, insecurities, struggles, and there I was. I was looking flawless. And in that moment, I realized no wonder they couldn't connect. So I took a deep breath. Instead of opening with a success story, I told them about a time I completely failed. I'm a normal human being. A time I doubted myself. But inside I thought, this is a mistake. They will lose respect for me. But then something shifted. The room went quiet. People leaned in closer. They didn't admire me less. They trusted me more. So that was my aha. Perfection impresses, yes. But vulnerability connects. Because when I finally matched them in their humanity, I could actually lead them forward. So let me ask you, where in your life are you trying so hard to be perfect? And what might shift if you allowed yourself to be a little more vulnerable? If you're open to practice vulnerability today, type a word. Guess what that is? Open. In the chat. And look at that, Mark is already ready to share. And Mark, if you're comfortable, you would like to give us an example, a time being vulnerable, actually build more connection, please do share, Mark. That was my third aha moment. I didn't need to be perfect to inspire. I needed to be real. I needed to be authentic. And that brings me where I am today. Looking back, those were the three biggest aha moments at the beginning of my journey. A lot, right? But they shaped the trainer I've become. But it wasn't just about creating my own table or saying yes before I was ready, or even allowing myself to be vulnerable. It was about something deeper. Faith. Faith in myself, in NLP, and in my journey. But not everyone shared that faith. Two of my brothers confronted me at the beginning and said, Susanna, you're wasting your time. NLP isn't academically recognized. You spend the tuition of a PhD on something that isn't even solid, and now you're telling me that you quit your job? My friends, you know what? Their words hurt. For a long time, I told myself, if it doesn't work out, Fine, I can't always go back to my well-paid full-time job. It was my safety net, my plan B. But here's what I discovered. As long as you keep looking back, you never move forward. I wasn't giving my whole heart to NLP because I kept one foot in the past. Until one day I told myself, Susanna Wang, either you're all in or you're out. And that was my hero's journey, no return moment. And that's when everything shifted. Once I went all in, step by step, opportunity by opportunity, my world opened. I trained in Spain, Germany, across Asia, and eventually in the United States. And if everything works out fine, my next destination is Poland. But no matter the country, the journey wasn't always smooth. I faced fears, technical problems, self-doubt. But every time I reminded myself, there's a reason I'm standing here and they're sitting there. Trust it. Most of the time, I didn't even stop to reflect on how far I'd come. I just kept focusing on what I was so passionate about and trusted that things would unfold the way they needed to. And there came a moment I'll never forget. One that proved all the doubt and struggle had been worth it. The day I received my first paycheck from NLP University, the institute that had changed my life. I held that check in my hand, and my hand was literally shaking because it wasn't just money. It was proof that my dream wasn't naive. Proof that NLP had given me a life I could live with passion. And years later, the same two brothers who once told me I was wasting my time, they looked me in the eye and said, "We saw your faith. We saw your success. But most of all, we see that you're happy. Happiest among all of us." In that moment, I felt like the case was closed. So here's my final aha. When you go all in, the universe meets you halfway. So let me ask you, where are you still keeping a safety net? And what might happen if you went all in? My friends, if you are ready, let's type all in the chat. Give yourself some energy. Oh, whoa, Birdie is fast. All in, all in. There you go. Look at that. And here we are. 50 years of NLP University. What a milestone. Anyone would like to unmute yourself to share what is it that you want to go all in? Come on. What is it that you want to go all in? Anyone want to share your energy with us, your determination with us? It's okay if you want to keep it to yourself too. I respect that. Let's see. Anyone? Hey. Okay, Bertie. Go big or go home. That was my favorite line and still is my favorite line, my friend. Bertie, all the best. The thing is, today we're here for this anniversary, and this anniversary isn't only about the past. It's about the present moment we are sharing. And thank you for being here today. And the future we are creating together. As you reflect on your journey, here are the ahas I want you to carry with you. Create your own table. Say yes before you're ready. And remember that vulnerability connects. And when you go all in, the universe literally meets you halfway. So, my invitation to you is this: as you step out of this celebration, ask yourself, what aha moment would I create next? How would I create and carry NLP forward in my life, my community, and in the world? Because just as NLP has grown over the past 50, 60 years, it will keep evolving through your tables, your yeses, your courage, and your openness. So let's take a deep breath. And if you would like, type one word in the chat that represents the future you want to create with NLP. Let's enjoy everybody's future. Okay. Type a word or a phrase that represents the future you want to create with NLP. Worldwide. Whoa. I like that. Creative. Now, everybody, this is the future of NLP right here in this room. Playfulness, indeed. Ah, Nick, I didn't know you were here. We bring out the best in ourselves and each other. Indeed. Possibilities are always endless. Presence, lovely, beautiful. Look at this. This is the future of NLP because the future of NLP isn't just in the history books. It's in you, in me, and in all of us. We spent this time together exploring my aha moments. Thank you so much. Now, I'd love to hear yours. What's the aha you're walking away with today after this keynote? Feel free to type it in the chat or unmute yourself. Let's fill this space with our collective wisdom. Anyone would like to unmute yourself or share in the chat box? What is the aha moments that you are going to take away with today, Bertie?